Do students learn math in secondary schools in Vietnam?
Definitely yes. This is because math forms the foundation of many other sciences. In fact, students in Vietnam actually have an early exposure to mathematics, as the process can start as soon as children reach primary school. This is not to mention the fact that the importance of teaching math is recognized by the Vietnamese government, so the decision to incorporate math into the school curriculum is always a top priority in my country.
Do you think math is difficult?
Well, if I had to say, I'd reckon it is not a walk in the park to become proficient in comprehending mathematical knowledge and being quick-witted enough to figure out the most efficient solution to a math problem. This means that students with a head for figures will certainly shine at mathematics thanks to their willingness to go to great lengths to enhance their problem-solving skills.
What can people do with math in their daily life?
In our everyday life, I believe that everything is interconnected with mathematics, so the essence of such a subject is something that must be held with high regard. From the very basic task of figuring out the date and time to more essential tasks such as managing a budget and so on. Mathematical knowledge is a necessity for virtually anyone. If everyone disregards this matter of utmost gravity, we will barely survive in today's society.
Do you learn math now? Why or why not?
Of course, as a first-year student majoring in econometrics and quantitative economics, math is a subject that I have to deal with on a daily basis, since both my majors revolve around certain aspects of math that will assist me in focusing on the institutional, analytic, and empirical framework in which economic decision-making occurs.
Describe a time when it is important to tell your friend the truth.
Off the top of my head, there was one occasion which immediately came to mind, and that was when I had to confess my feelings to a girl in my class for whom I'd had a deep affection for quite a while. This happened during my last year of high school, which was such a harrowing but ultimately unforgettable memory for me. Long story short, I'd secretly had feelings for her for over 2 years by that point, but I still wasn't able to gather my courage to bring this matter to light, even though she was a close friend whom I trust completely and felt comfortable confiding in. However, on a few occasions, I did manage to have long and deep conversations with her, and we clicked with each other surprisingly well in the process. Because of that, I could still see the likelihood of our relationship following a positive trajectory. After quite a while, I managed to pluck up my courage to finally be truthful and tell her how I truly felt. At that time, I was, for some reason, optimistic about my chances. How deluded I was to bear such a thought. What came next was a rather courteous rejection from her part, and in the end she friend-zoned me and we decided to let the dust settle. Although my feelings were not reciprocated in the end, I still think it was crucial for me to be honest with her, since if I had kept that relationship in the closet for any longer, I think my inner feelings would have been negatively affected and I would have felt so regretful for not being bold enough to seek closure.
Do you think telling the truth is important?
From my own point of view, being honest is the foundation of a meaningful and long-lasting relationship. Honesty shows that you have respect for others and for yourself, and thanks to that, our lives can be imbued with openness as well as candor, which are the two quintessential aspects of the stability of social interactions.
Do you think we should tell the truth at all times?
To be frank, even though one cannot undermine the importance of truthfulness, I think that there's always an exception to the rule, in the form of telling others white lies. For instance, lying to a friend about how mouth-watering their dish is, even though you find their cooking not very delectable, is a way to avoid hurting their feelings unnecessarily. There's simply no point in being brutally honest in this case and make them feel bad. So it is in your best interest to just give them a polite compliment or at the very least constructive criticisms to help them feel encouraged. How do you know when others are telling lies? To the best of my knowledge, the signs of a liar are pretty subtle, as you have to have a keen eye to spot them. Oftentimes, when detecting dishonesty in a person, verbal and non-verbal cues usually catch my attention. To be more specific, inconsistency, repetition, and ambiguity in a person's story, alongside the appearance of sentence fragments in their speech, are verbal indicators of a potential liar. Also, behaviors such as avoiding eye contact or pressing fingers to lips and so on are some signals that may hint at a person lying. Do you think it is more important to win a game or follow the rules in sports? In my opinion, abiding by rules and regulations is undeniably the most important thing in sports. Of course, not winning is never pleasant, but I'd argue that there's nothing glorious about a victory achieved by breaking the rules. Defeating others in a way that is unjust is, for me, nothing to take pride in. This is because it is not a true reflection of one's efforts to surpass their limits and enhance their physical abilities to reach new heights, which is the true essence of all sports.